my name is Vimari. I am currently an assistant professor of music here at Bridgewater College. And I'm very excited because today I'll get the chance to share information about Bomba. Bomba is a style of music from Puerto Rico, and I was actually born and raised in the island of Puerto Rico, so I love every chance I get to be able to share bits of my culture and music with others. So the title, Bomba, the Son of Puerto Rico's African Heritage. And in fact, here at Bridgewater College, we have a new course that is titled Music of Latin America. So this information is information that our students at Bridgewater College are getting as part of this new course. So at the end of the video, you'll get to see students playing and performing Bomba. But to do this presentation, we need to travel to Puerto Rico. So we're going to go from Virginia to Puerto Rico to the Caribbean. And I'm going to provide a little bit of background information. So Puerto Rico is a colony of the United States that is located in the Caribbean Sea, northeast of the Caribbean Sea. It was colonized by Spain following the arrival of Christopher Columbus, and this explains why in the island of Puerto Rico the principal language is Spanish, which is my principal language as well. In 1898, that's in history when we see the Spanish-American War. So as a result of this war, the United States acquires Puerto Rico under the terms of the Treaty of Paris. And eventually in 1917, the Jones Act is passed, and this is what gives all Puerto Ricans their U.S. citizenship. Now, I don't know if in the past you've heard this term or not, but people often use the term Boricua to refer to people from Puerto Rico. And that has an explanation. It's connected to the original name of the island of Puerto Rico, which was Borican. Borican was the name that the Taínos, the natives of Puerto Rico, gave to the island. And that explains why we still see that term. If you're from Puerto Rico, you are Boricua. Not only Puerto Rican, but also Boricua. The translation of that term is the land of the valiant Lord. This leads me to the main three heritage that we see in the island of Puerto Rico, and this is something that is also reflected in the music of Puerto Rico. So, Puerto Rican culture is a presentation of the diverse heritage of three cultural groups: the Taínos, the native inhabitants; Africans that were forcibly brought to this side of the world, especially populations from West Africa; and then Spaniards. So today I'm talking about Bomba. So Bomba, one of the oldest music genres of Puerto Rico. It started during colonial times around the 17th century, so it's been performed for a very long time. It can be considered the most purely African music genre of Puerto Rico, hence the title of this presentation. It was created on Puerto Rico's colonial sugar plantations by African slaves and their descendants. So I'll show you soon a map where you're gonna see the places where Bomba first developed, and they're all gonna be around the coast of Puerto Rico. This type of music provided a social and political outlet for our people burdened with the hardships of slavery. So they used music to release feelings of anger, sadness, and they used it also to celebrate. They danced at the sugar plantations on Saturday nights and holidays, usually in open areas in the sugarcane fields or in the plazas of the town square. So, when we talk about Bomba, we first usually talk about the structure, the interaction that we have between the ensemble and the participants. So, the first characteristic that we have is what we call a music call and response. This is definitely a characteristic that we see comes to us from Africa. So, call and response happens when we have a lead singer that sings a phrase or a verse or chorus, and then the response is performed by the rest of the performers or the attendees. So we have the call with the lead singer, and then everyone else gets to participate, singing right away exactly what the lead singer did. And eventually, the lead singers move to verses, and the participants that are going to be doing the chorus are always going to be responding back and repeating that same call that they sang at the beginning. So we'll get to do that soon. The song that I selected for this interaction so that you get to understand how it works is called Sire, Sire. So the translation is here. In English it will say, yes, I'll go. Yes, I'll go. Yes, I'm headed for Mayagüez or to Mayagüez. Mayagüez is a town in the west coast of Puerto Rico. And that's one of the places where Bomba was first born. And that explains why that town, the name of that town, is mentioned in many Bomba songs. And then it says, yes, I'll go, for they are playing my balance. Balance is a subgenre of Bomba. It's an older subgenre of Bomba. So soon I'll explain that in Bomba we have more than 12 different styles or sub-styles that stem from it. In Spanish, it is Sire, Sire. Now, Sire is not actually a word in Spanish. This is a contraction of si, ire. Yes, I'll go. So often when we're singing, if we need to have syllables fit in one beat, we combine them. So in this case, instead of si, ire, sire, sire, si me voy para Mayagüez, sire, sire, porque, because, están tocando, they're playing, mi balance, my balance. So I'm going to start the audio so that you can hear the interaction between the lead singer and then the rest of the performers. That's the call. Response, everyone in Bomba. Good, we're going to move on to the sub-styles of Bomba. And first, I have these stars that represent the towns where Bomba developed. So Mayagüez is a town that was mentioned in the lyrics, but we also have Ponce in the south. Santurce here, Santurce is a city within San Juan, which is the capital of Puerto Rico. And then we have Loíza, also in the north. Loíza is the town in Puerto Rico where you see the most African heritage. So a lot of Bomba is performed today in Loíza. Now at the top, I have 3 substyles of Bomba. I said that we have more than 12, but from the myriad of styles that we have, these are probably the most known. I'll start with Sika. A lot of people that don't know that Bomba has substyles associate Sika with the term Bomba. So Sika is definitely the most popular or famous. But we also have Juba. Juba is slower. And then we have Hollandais, and sometimes people say Hollandés with an S at the end, but it's the same style. This is one of the fastest and one of my favorites. So we're gonna start with Sika. But I want to give you an example of Juba. Juba, if you know about music, Dubai's genre that is in the meter time signature of 6/8. Definitely has a different mood, a different attitude that is reflected through the dancers and through the music. But we finally here have Hollande. To play sika. So what are the instruments that we hear in this music? First, we have drums, and this is definitely an example of the heritage that we have from Africa. A lot of different types of drums, especially in the Caribbean, we see that, and in Brazil, because these are the areas that received highest numbers of African slaves. So the first instrument that I want you to look at is the buleador. This is a drum that is called buleador or segundo. So we have two names that are used interchangeably. This is going to be low pitch. So in Bomba, we're going to have two different types of drums. A larger one and then a smaller one. In general terms, the drums are called bomba barrels. Why? Because they are traditionally made of rum barrels. So I don't have a bomba barrel with me, but I have what we use in classrooms or music classes, which is this drum that it's called a tubano drum. And I use it every time I do workshops for bomba because it gives me a very similar sound. So remember, we have two different diameters for the drums. But the large one is going to be called buleador or segundo, any of those two names. Then we have maracas. So usually instead of using two maracas, you're gonna see one maraca. And then this instrument here that it's called cuá. It's a piece of wood that you hit with rhythm sticks. I don't have a cuá, but what I do is I use a wood block. And the wood block gives me a very similar sound. So it's basically the same idea. Okay. And that's what we're going to be doing now. We're going to be learning to play sika, that subgenre of bomba. And I have the notation, but if you don't know anything about music, no worries, because I'll teach you these patterns with words. And that's something that we do often when we do music lessons. So I'm gonna get a chair. And I'm going to start with the line of the buleador. I said that we have two drums. The large one is going to play a pattern that is repeated many times throughout a song. In music, we call this ostinato. An ostinato is a pattern that is repetitive. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this large drum. Then with the other one, which is the high pitch, what you're going to see is improvisations. But I'm not gonna get to that yet. So the buleador. These are the words that we're going to use. I always start with ni, tai, 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 ni. So using body percussion. And that helps me prepare students or people to what they're going to be doing later in the drum. So we're going to be using our hands. We're going to start with our right hand. And I would like you to do ni. And then with your left hand, it's going to be, so I'm talking about this line. So it's going to be ni, tai, 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 ni, tai, tai, tai. So we're alternating between right, left, right, left. So ni, tai, 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 ni, tai, 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 ni, tai, 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 ni. And why I'm using my knee is because I would like people to start with the hand at the center of the drum and then to go to the rim. So if you go to the center, you're gonna see that you have a lower pitch. If you go to the rim, it sounds a little bit higher. So in that case, you're gonna be prepared to do low, high, 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 low, high, 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 or knee, high, 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 high. So that's the main pattern of the boleador or low drum. The maraca is simple, and for the movement or the pattern of the maraca, I'm going to use a fruit. It's going to be mango. So mango, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. In bomba, this is how you grab a maraca. Instead of here, you're going to go to the base. So yeah, you have more control, and you're going to do up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, back, tum, 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 back, tum, 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 back, tum, 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 back. So these are patterns that are repetitive, and what you do is you combine the layers of sound, and that's how you have the patterns of bomba. Finally, the qua. For the qua, I'm using fruits one more time. Okay, I work often with children. My specialty is general music, with music for students in elementary school. So this is definitely something that works with them, but works with everyone. So that is going to be this line where it says qua. And it's going to be blueberry, watermelon, blueberry, watermelon, blueberry, watermelon. If I go to the sticks, it's going to be right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, blueberry, watermelon. And I do it faster. So now we have 3 patterns that we can combine. What we need to add, finally, is the high-pitched drum that is going to be improvising on top of the other instruments. Okay? Now, how do we start a bomba song? Usually you have an introduction that is short, and it's called break or llamada in Spanish. So I'll show you an example of a type of introduction that I often use for this style of bomba, which is sica. One more time, we're going to use words, and in this case, it's going to be pizza, pizza, avocado toast, pizza, pizza, avocado toast. And for the movement of your hands, it's going to be right, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So I play that, and then I move to knee, thigh, 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 or low, high, high, high. So be pizza, pizza, avocado toast. So the entire ensemble, except for the maraca, can do this introduction. Pum, 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 tum, tum, and that's where the maraca could start. Okay. That is called a break or llamada in Spanish. Now, we're going to talk about the improvisation and what the dancers do in bomba, because in bomba music, dancing is very important. So it is the responsibility of the primo to translate or reflect that feeling, that energy in the drum. So that's the name that we give to the high-pitched drum. We call it primo. And what happens with the primo drum is a conversation between the drummer and the dancer. So the dancer is going to be improvising some steps, and the drummer that is playing the primo drum has to try to translate those movements to the drum. So in this case, the drummer follows the dancer, not the other way around. So dancers are essential to bomba. They take turns challenging the solo drummer and showing off their skills. So as the song starts, you have that interaction of call and response, and then at some point after doing a few rounds of that interaction, you're gonna see dancers coming to the center and taking turns and trying to challenge the drummer. The result is a dialogue between the drummer and the dancer. The fast steps produced by the dancer are called floretea piquetes. So those are going to be the improvised steps, and I'll give you an example soon. The drummer follows the dancer, establishing a controversia. Controversia is a term that we give to that interaction between dancer and drummer. So I'm quickly going to give you an example of the improvised steps. In this case, it's gonna start with a boy that is improvising bomba, and then I'll give several examples. What the lady in the video was going to do. So I'll start with the basic step. Traditionally in bomba, women use long skirts and they move the skirts as they dance. Whenever I don't have a skirt, I use a scarf, and it gives me the same type of movement. So I'm going to put the scarf here, and I'm going to start simply by going from side to the center, to the other side, to the center. So you start moving your legs only and your feet. So right, center, left, center. Pa, dum, 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 pa, dum, 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 pa, dum, 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 pa, dum, dum, dum. Then, after you have that, you start moving your opposite arm. So for example, right, center, left, center, opposite arm. Dum, pa, dum, 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 pa, dum, 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 pa. Now, what are some improvised steps that I could do? I know it can be overwhelming to have to improvise in any type of music, but it can be as simple as doing movements like this one. Pa, 2, 3, 4, pa, pa. And what I'm trying to do is I look at the drummer and I'm trying to see if he can catch, or she, that I'm doing this with the drum. Pra. So for example, pra, 2, 3, 4, pa, 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 pa. Another thing that I could do is I could move my skirt like this. Pa. How I translate that to the drum? Pa, 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 pa. 2, 3, 4, pa, pa. That's an example. Other thing that you could see often, it's doing like a little jump. So pa, 2, 3, 4, pa, pa, 3, 4. And you could also move your legs fast. So pa, 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 pa. So what you do if you are playing the high-pitched drum? You could start simply by playing the basic pattern of the bolero. You keep that, and then you start integrating the movements that you're going to see with the dancers. So there are definitely ways in which we can learn to improvise that are not as overwhelming. And that's why I have these ideas here. So I'll put the music, and I'll try to dance so that you can get an idea of how that all works. Basic dance step. 1, 2, 3 to the right. Up, bum, 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 up, bum, 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 up, bum. Opposite arm. Imagine the drummer is here. If it's my turn to improvise, I will walk to the drummer with a basic step. So like this. start with the introduction. Pizza, pizza, avocado toast. Then you do the ostinato pattern, so the repeated patterns. Pa, tum, 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 pa, tum, 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 with a qua. Blueberry watermelon with a maraca, mango, 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 mango. Then, with the high pitch drum, you can alternate between the basic pattern. If there's not a dancer with you, you can just try to play patterns that sound similar to what a dancer would do. You do the interaction between the call and response several times, and then you give turns to the dancers to show off their skills. And then, to finish the song, you could go back to that first chorus that you sang. In this case, sire, sire, si me voy para Mayagüez. Sire, sire, porque están tocando mi balance. And you finish the song. So that's the structure of any bomba song. Finally, I have the juba and the holandés. So I'll show you quickly how to play the buleador, the large drum, with juba and then holandés, and that's going to be our presentation. So I'm going to get the large drum one more time. And I'm going to be teaching you this line. So it's going to be, one more time, I'm going to use ni, tai, 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 ni, tai, tai, tai. So we're going to be alternating right hand, left hand. And so it's center, rim, rim, center, ni, tai, 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 or low, tai, hi, hi, low, tai, hi, hi, low, tai, hi, hi, low, tai, hi, hi, low. And for the holandés, we have here this line, which is going to be tiny, 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 tiny. So we're gonna do the opposite. So tiny, 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 tiny. So high, low, high, low, high, low, low, high, low. So it's going here. You'll get to see students from Bridgewater College playing Sika. They, last Thursday, they had an opportunity to learn to play the song that we did together, Sire, Sire. watching this video, and please support the music department. Right now we don't have live concerts, but eventually we will, and we would love to see you here with us. So thank you.